I will tell you everything you'd ever like to know. All the stars you wish upon, I will make them yours. I'll speak to you in poetry to fill your dreams with light. Make sure your every fantasy comes to life.
Hi everybody. I want to welcome you to our celebration tonight where we get to celebrate the most wonderful man I know, Pan Sarastri. And I want to introduce you to somebody that's very special to both Pan and I. She actually is responsible for bringing us together 32 years ago. But before I introduce you to her, I would like to tell you a little story. So grab some libation, have a seat, and I will commence with how we met. Picture this: 1984, the Port of Portland. I was working as a berth agent, clearing cargo off ships through U.S. Customs and the steamship lines. And this ship, the Mangle Desai, arrives. Now, these two guys, the captain and the chief mate, get off the ship and they wanted to go into town. They called a cab. The cab didn't arrive. They walked to the administration building where they met the general superintendent, our friend Denise Ragland. So Denise offers them a ride, and she takes them into downtown, and she calls me later and says, I met these two guys off the ship, and they want us to meet them tonight at the Marriott. So I said, great. Well, I didn't get off work till late. I was tired. In those days, we didn't have email or text, so I called, and I spoke to the bartender, and I said, when these people come in, would you please let them know that I won't be joining them? So he takes the message, and that's all good. The ship sails the next day. 6 months later, Pan's ship arrives in town. Pan calls Denise and says, Denise, is your friend Susan still available? Now dig this. The guy has never met me. So I said, Denise, geez, you must have really oversold my virtues. So she says they want us to join them on the ship for dinner. So I said, well, it's a work night. We went back and forth. I don't usually go out on work nights. But in the end, I agreed. Got on the ship. We met. I thought, Lord, I've been a big girl all my life. This guy was like scrawny. But it was nice. He was a nerd, but an interesting one. He thought I was effervescent. So we had a very nice dinner, very nice time, and then 22 of us went out dancing that night. We hit the town in Portland, Beaverton, Earthquake Ethels, the Red Lion. We had a great time. And then a few days later, the ship sailed. He asked me to wait for him. I said, wait. Wait for what? He said, wait until I come back. And I thought, well, that's an interesting concept. So I thought, why not? I like this guy. So over the months that followed, we wrote, we sent cassette tapes. You have to remember, there's no other way of communicating now. You can't call ship to shore. It's extremely expensive. Plus, we never knew where the ship was going to be. So it was all about letters and cassette tapes is how we communicated. And then, round about December of 1984, Pan asked me if I would consider marrying him. And I thought, wow, this was scary. You have to understand, he's from India. I'm from New York. He's a very mellow, introspective, private fella. I'm not. So were we a match? But you know what? It all came down to the values and how we felt about life and each other. So what I did was I wrote him a letter and I listed all my faults. I listed faults I might acquire in the future, because too many people go into marriage thinking they're going to change the other person. And I was already 34. I was pretty much cooked. I said, I got to let this guy know who I am. He's used to traditional Indian women who, live to serve their men. I don't even cook. So I listed all my faults. I said, listen, if you can accept me just the way I am, I'll marry you. The ship came back to the East Coast the following April. I flew back. We went down to Arlington, Virginia, got in front of a justice of the peace, exchanged our vows, and here we are, 31 years later, and every morning when I wake up to his soft breathing next to me, I thank God for my nerd. Dear Pankaj, if I told you all the ways in which I love you, it would take us into eternity. So I'll just mention a few. I love you when I picture you standing in a busy aisle at Sam's Club, and you call me reading the jacket cover from a book so I can decide if I want to read it. I love you because when I'm driving and you're in the passenger seat, I know you want to be anywhere else, but you don't say it. I love you because you know I'll never be thin, and yet you still think I'm a hottie. Go figure. I love you because when people ask you if we have kids, you say, other people have kids and pets. I have Susan. I love you because in the face of numerous medical issues, emergencies, and drama, you have never left my side. I love you because even on those days when I know you want to blame Denise instead of thank her, you still warm my feet until I fall asleep. I love you even though you have to compile a spreadsheet just to determine what you want for breakfast. I love you because I know you could have married a nice, quiet Indian girl who could make you elaborate meals. Instead, you got me. I love you because you took the time to show me how to properly execute the folding of your t-shirts. I love you because through all the family heartbreak and grieving, you have been my steadfast, devoted companion. I love you because you brought me into the Sarastri family, and that is the greatest honor of my life. Above all else, I love you because you know and love God and understand that the source of all our joys begin and end with Him. Pankaj Sarastri, you are my never-ending gift from God. Happy 60th birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, without her, there would be no us. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is our absolute pleasure on the days when we actually do want to thank her to introduce you to somebody we love, somebody who has been in our lives all these 32 years, our friend, Denise Ragland. Denise, stand up and take a bow, sweetheart.